Elias Connell Laycock was a sporting champion, probably the first Cronulla ever had. He was a rower, a sculler, and he was a big personality, a big man, 6'5", and he demanded attention wherever he was. Elias, for those days, started rowing quite late. He was 28 and he was up on the Clarence, and I can tell you what a beautiful place to start rowing. In the late 19th century, rowing was one of the big sports. Thousands of people would line the riverbanks to watch matches, races between champions. They were heroes, these champion rowers. Rowing was professional. People bet on the races, there was big prize money offered, so dodgy people were attracted to it. And so all sorts of things happened. One of the most well-known examples of skullduggery in rowing was this race that Elias Connell Laycock raced against George Messenger, a champion. And at one stage, one of the spectator fleets, there was a big spectator fleet on the river, as you can imagine, with all the interest in the race. This paddle steamer actually interfered with Messenger, put him out of the race. It was a scandal, really. Elias Connell Laycock was champion of Australia at one stage, but he never won a world championship. He went to England in 1880. He won races, he lost races. Probably the person I think he lost most races against was Edward Trickett, who was really well known. I in fact live in Trickett Road, Cronulla. A lot of streets are named after these famous rowers. But Laycock never got to be world champion, much to his disappointment. But he was always remembered and honoured for his contribution to rowing. In 1902, the Lord Mayor in Sydney was having a gathering of leading rowers. And now you've got to think, Elias had been out of competitive rowing for some years at this stage. George Towns, who was the world champion at that stage, was returning from England with his new English bride. It was a big occasion, but Elias was invited to take part. I think he was a naughty boy, and they used to say that he'd walk around the streets of Cronulla late at night, roaring drunk, and then go home to his third wife, young enough to be his granddaughter. I think Elias Connell Laycock was a larrikin. He was probably one of Cronulla's best known larrikins. He lived in Cronulla for many years, and he had that renown, that aura, I think, was around him for the rest of his life. He died at 92, but he was never forgotten. And that early rowing career, which had been years earlier and never got a world title, but that sort of clung to him all his life. And I think, once again, that stature of the man, such a big man, so imposing, I think this is part of his aura, even though he may have been a bit fond of the drinking and etc. I think he was remembered, and people still talk about him even now.